Guys, how's it going? This is David, Triple D, whatever you want to call me. You know, I know you guys probably got a few questions. You're probably wondering what's with the beard, what are you going to go on about now, and why are you walking around the house with just one boxing glove like some kind of crazy person, or like the dude that fought Hoist Gracie that one time in the UFC. Well, yeah, I'm pretty much going to answer all that today. So obviously, decided not to shave the beard. You know, just during the whole quarantine. This is pretty much my quarantine beard. So there's that answer. And then what am I going to go on about today? Well, it kind of ties into the answer for the one with the single boxing glove because somebody recently asked me to do a video about the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder rematch gloves conspiracy. So here we are. So for those that don't know or haven't heard, after Tyson Fury won the rematch with Deontay Wilder, some people thought that maybe Fury and his corner tampered with the gloves. They did something to give him an edge where he was punching with the wrist part of the glove. And so I'm pretty much just here to give my opinion on the matter. That's what someone asked me to do. And honestly, again, I know I'm just some dude on the internet, you can do whatever you want with the opinion. It's just an opinion. Everyone's got one. This is just my opinion. Someone asked me. I'm pretty much giving an answer. He's just, you can do whatever you want with that opinion, like I said. And, so do I think it's true? I don't think it's true. I don't think they messed with it. It'd be nigh impossible to tamper with the gloves in the way that people are saying Fury did. Because now, there's something you always got to remember is that, the commission's always got somebody in the locker room watching the guys get hand wrapped, get their gloves tied up real tight, and making sure that there's no funny business going on. Now, you always got somebody from the commission watching the gloves get tampered with. You always got you watch them get their gloves tied up to see if there's any tampering, and you always have somebody from the opposing corner watching the whole process. You got somebody watching them, to make sure that there's no funny business. So you got somebody from the commission, and you got somebody from the opposing corner watching this go down. And now, one thing that should be remembered is that when it comes to lace-up gloves, because they don't use Velcro for pro matches, when it comes to lace-ups, is that when these suckers are tied really tight, it's almost nigh impossible to move your hand around, especially if you're wearing hand wraps. Another thing that should be noted is that in pro bouts, they also put a little bit of tape over the laces. So with tape and all that stuff, it's going to be nigh impossible to move around, and that's because Now, obviously, I'm struggling a little bit because these suckers, they're not even tied up, as tight as possible. They're not, at 100%, tightness or as tight as they should be. And even then I'm still struggling to move my hand around. I'm not even wearing hand wraps, that's another thing. And then to try and make a fist in that sucker while it's pulled up like that, that's another thing. That's another thing that makes it difficult. And then just to do this, basically hit like that, you kind of have to bend your wrist in a very weird, unnatural way. That's probably going to break it or cause it, if you're hitting 100% with your wrist all bent up like that, you're probably going to hurt yourself. And that's another reason that gloves are always tied up as tight as can be to prevent risk of injury. It's there for extra wrist support and extra wrist protection. You know what I mean? It's always tied up so that you don't bust your hands up. And so mind you, I'm not even wearing hand wraps. So like this, to get it like that. And see, I'm not even wearing hand wraps. And so when you got the wraps on, it's even harder to pull that off. It's even harder just to even move around, slide it off. And, and like I said, the corner's always going to, you really don't want to, you had to keep it bent like this just to even land with the wrist part of the glove. And obviously no corner's going to want their fighter to do that, because that's how they're going to get injured. They can get injured that way, and obviously no corner wants their guy to bust their wrist, bust their hand, bust anything in the middle of a match, because let's be honest, that would just be stupid, to run the risk of injury like that. The whole reason that the gloves are tied up nice and tight is to make sure that there's no injury to the wrist. I mean, this part's the glove right here, all this, the laces, and then, this little bit right here. All that is made there to provide extra wrist protection. And so to basically slide it up and get your hand all like this, basically you're just running, like I said, you're running the risk of injury. And I know there are some people who've made some videos where they're trying to display that, but if you notice, they probably don't have, they're not using wraps and they don't have the gloves. Excuse me. They don't have the gloves fully laced up. Which will make it easier to do that because if you don't have the gloves fully laced up, it's going to be a whole lot easier to move your hand in and out of the glove like that, even with or without wraps, and especially without if you're doing it barehanded. It's going to be a whole lot easier to move around. So those laces, those videos, are not exactly 100% accurate as far as the point that they're trying to make about Tyson Fury tampering with the hand wrap. See, it's a whole lot easier to move in and out. A whole lot easier to move in and out. See, didn't even have to struggle. Whereas when I had it fully tied up, I was like, kind of fighting against the glove just to get out of there. And that was just barehanded, and the glove wasn't even tied up, 100%. That's just the way that gloves are made. They're there for that. They're made to be a little stiff and supportive, and to provide that, that level of of hand, of wrist protection there. And so, like I said, you got somebody from the opposing corner watching, you got somebody from the commission watching. You got hand wraps. You got the laces tied up as nice and tight because obviously you don't want your dude to get injured. So, I mean, really, it's. Come on. I think it's pretty obvious right there. I mean, it's going to be pretty impossible with all those things going on with just the laces and the tape tied up and all that stuff, and then you even have to have somebody from the commission signing on the tape and all that. So I mean, the ties, with the hand wraps and the tape on there, and with the laces fully fully tied up nice and tight, it's going to be nigh impossible to move around like that and to get that that illegal advantage. But again, that's just me. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. We're all adults here. It's a free country. We can think what we want. And hope you guys appreciate the video. Hope you guys like it, and hope you all can keep subscribing. Have a good one.